Hello, everyone, and welcome to Meet the Buyer Procurement Forum, where we are procuring virtually. I am Dr. Porscha Jackson, Business Development Manager with the City of Houston's Office of Business Opportunity, and thank you for tuning in to the role of certification in procurement. We have some fabulous panelists here to share information about certification so that you'll know how to get certified and what that means in the procurement process. So we have Ms. Shirley Brooks from WBEA. We have Vanessa Aplon from OBO. We also have Ingrid Robinson from HMSDC, as well as Monique Pettaway from Metro. I mentioned a lot of acronyms, and I'm going to leave it up to the panelists when it's their turn to tell you what those acronyms stand for. So first up, we have Ms. Shirley Brooks with WBEA. Shirley, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon. Dr. Porscha, for inviting me to participate in this awesome forum. I would also like to say hello to the rest of the panel. Awesome group of women, and I'm excited to be here. I'm with the Women Business Enterprise Alliance. We are a third-party certification program for WBEA network. And so let me just go back and go over WBEA, Women Business Enterprise Alliance is what WBEA stands for. And we are a third-party certification organization, one of 14 for WBEA, which stands for Women Business Enterprise National Council Network, which is the largest national certification for women businesses. The WBEA's mission is to increase opportunity for women-owned businesses and corporate members through education, programs, and professional networking. To tell you a little bit about the organization and the group, if you get certified as a WBE, that you would become a part of. We have over 728 WBEs throughout our 94 county footprint that we serve. We have over 40 corporates here in our region that are partners. We have 11 community partners, City of Houston, OBO being one, and we have 84 volunteers. Our economic impact is $15 billion in revenue by our 720 plus WBEs, and that represents over 48,000 jobs that are created. So this is a powerful group of women, a women's organization to become certified as a WBN. As being a part of WBEA, which is the owner of the certification program, their mission, our mission collaboratively is to fuel the economic growth globally through access to opportunity by identifying and certifying facility development for women businesses. Our core platform for WBEA is certification, opportunity, resource, and engagement. And you become certified as a part of under the WBE umbrella, you'll become a part of this network of 14,000 WBEs throughout the United States, 312 corporate members that support the organization, and over 14 partners organizations throughout the United States that certify on behalf of WBEA. This is a map footprint. We're down in the bottom half of Texas. We cover everything from El Paso down to Corpus, and from McAllen, Brownsville over to the Louisiana border. So if you have a business in this region and it is your corporate office, you certify where your corporate office is located, and this is our footprint. Getting certified is becoming certified as part of WBEA. WBEA provide both Women Business Enterprise WBE certification and the WBE, the Women Owned Small Business, WOSB. We certify both, as well as we certify on behalf of the state of Texas for HUB. And once you're certified as a WBE or as WOSB with our organization, access to the WBEA Link network so that you can also collaborate with not only the 300 plus corporates, but the 14,000 other WBEs. The criteria for getting certified, which is why we're here, to become a WBE. To get certified as a WBE, the applicant's company must be at least 51% owned, controlled by one or more women, and also that you are a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent residents, or in a case of a public owned or traded company, at least 51% of the equity of which is owned and controlled by women. So 51% owned and controlled. Also, you have to manage. As an owner, you don't have to be the day-to-day manager, but your company must be managed by females. So managed daily operation is controlled by one or more women. A two-part process is used to ensure that the applicant's company meet the WBEA standard. This includes going through a review of your documentation and a site visit with the female owner or owners. Now, the site visits during this pandemic we are doing that site visit via Zoom at this point until we have given the green light to proceed to do on-site visits. But we do consider that our on-site visit, and so we will do that via Zoom. The national recognition, the benefits of becoming certified is one, the and access to supply diversity and procurement executives at over 100 major U.S. corporations and federal and state and local government entities that accept the WBEA certification. WBEA is also an approved third-party certifier for the United States Small Business Administration. It is a free certification, but you no longer can self-certify. So either you go through the SBA or you continue to use third-party certifying agencies, such as the Women Business Enterprise Alliance or WBEA. We also help with increasing market share and gain relationship with target clients, partners, by engaging intentionally with our clients. We have formal and informal opportunities for corporate procurement. That's where you engage in matchmaking opportunity, as well as meet the buyer and go to our trade shows. The benefits of being certified is automatic inclusion into the WBEA link, that you become a part of a network of 14,000 women. There's several ways that you can do business once you're certified. And one of those ways is, of course, everybody wants to be the prime, but you can also come on as a tier 2 or tier 3. So knowing who is a part of that network and how to reach out to them and how they can reach out to you through that database, that's how important the WBEA link becomes important to your organization as you maneuver through the maze of getting to know other WBEs. The opportunity also to partner with other WBA certified WBEs to pursue other business opportunity. Our 5 steps to apply. This is electronic, so you will submit online applications and upload all of your documentations onto the network. Certification Review Committee will then review your application and your documentation. Once that is done, an on-site interview at this particular time via Zoom, and they will conduct a interview with the female or females owners. And then once that is done, Certification Review Committee votes to approve or deny the application, but the final decision is made by our president, and so she will have the final call. Kind of give you an overview of if you're thinking about getting certified as a WBE, these are some of the options that you can, or tell you a little bit about the industries. 38% of the contracts that the WBEs are receiving, 38% of them are with professional science and technology services. 16% is administrative and support. 12% is construction, while 7% is wholesale trade, and 5% of the contracts that are coming out are for transportation and warehousing. And I always just tell people when they're looking at possibly starting a business, maybe looking at if you want to get certified as a WBE, a lot of people say, well, 38% of all the contracts that are coming out are going to this professional or technical services. So that's the business I'm going to go after. But I always remind people that that's a very congested field. So just know that that's a very competitive place to be. So possibly getting a prime contractor may be a lot harder than becoming a partner or a collaborator with a partner in the deal. But just gives you an idea of where the contract opportunities are as a WBE. Some of the programs that opportunities to provide engagement for our WBEs is we have our conference, our business conference once a year. This year we did it via Zoom and it was a success. And but this is an opportunity for our WBEs to engage in, and meet the buyer and the procurement officers. So we still are providing those opportunities. And so certification is up, and our small businesses, we're just pleased to say that they are continuing to generate revenue so in the middle of this pandemic. Also, our golf classic is the one event that we did this year that was outside and engaging in opportunity. So we are still trying to create the opportunity for you to be in front of our procurement officers, because people buy from people they know. So relationship is really important, and we look for every opportunity for to put you all together. Programming, developing your business. Those are other options or opportunities for you to develop your business. Some of the resources, of course, once you're certified, you'll use the women, you're able to utilize the decal. There's been a lot of great work done behind making sure that this is just not a decal, but it's a decal to help, one, bring recognition to your brand and also opportunity. There was a study done by Walmart and WeBank, where they looked at 1 million women. They did a survey, and out of that, 99% of the women said if they saw that logo and they knew that a woman designed a business, they would be more entitled to do business with a woman. So this certification is not just about being a part of the sisterhood, but it also brings recognition and opportunity. And we are very intentional about doing business with companies that support our organization and our cause. So when we're looking to purchase or do business, or we need a product or a service, we use our WBEs. And our corporates are doing the same thing, we're hoping. We also have the Women's Business Center located here in Houston. I am the director of the Women's Business Center, and everything about the Women's Center is about how do we help develop your business and create a disruptive business into the marketplace. And then I made last the opportunity for scholarship. We just had an award last night of our scholarships. But as you're developing your business and you're growing, so I'm rushing through. Am I good on time?
You have about 2 more minutes.
2 more minutes? Okay. Well, here, I'll stop here. If you have any questions about getting certified, Lily Camel Anderson is our certification coordinator. She's absolutely fabulous. You can call her. She'll walk you through the process. If you have problems and you need someone to review your documentation, the majority of our denials of certification is based on the operating agreement or your bylaws. So at the Women's Business Center, we have 10 counselors. We can review your documentation to make sure your information is saying what you're saying. And then our president is the fabulous April Day. She's the president of the organization, and she is, as I said, the one who makes those final decisions. If you, our phone number is 713-681-9232. And if you need to reach me, my email address is sbrooks@wbea-texas.org. I will be around for questions if we take questions later. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share the certification, the WBEA certification or WBEA certification.
Thank you so much, Shirley, for sharing that information. So all of our women business owners know that the opportunities exist for your business, and you can contact Shirley and all of her team if you have any questions on how to take advantage of those opportunities that are set aside or that are available to you as a woman business owner who is certified as a woman's business enterprise. And so in keeping with our certification and how it plays a role in procurement, I'm going to bring up Vanessa.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So Shirley, if you could just hit that stop share, and then Vanessa, if you have any presentation you'd like to share, you'll be able to do so as well.
Perfect. I do. This will be a little different from our pre-certification workshop that we offer every first and third Tuesday of each month. So let me get this started, and you guys can see my screen, right?
Yes, we can see it.
Perfect. So Vanessa Aplon, Senior Business Development Coordinator with the City of Houston Office of Business Opportunity. Current Director is Marsha E. Murray. And what I'm going to discuss today is the importance of certification. And so when we talk about certification and its importance, we do need to go back to the Office of Business Opportunity as a whole. Created in 1984, a focus remains on underutilized businesses and addressing marketplace barriers affecting access to minorities and women to city contracting. Our commitment to cultivate a competitive and diverse economic environment by promoting the success of businesses and developing Houston's workforce with the emphasis on historically underutilized businesses and disenfranchised individuals. So our department key objectives are to educate, to connect, and to grow businesses. What we strive to do is increase the number, capacity, and success of businesses in the Houston area. Now, to address the marketplace barriers, the City of Houston's MWBE program was birthed, and that was in 1984. Right now, we have a total of 4 local programs in the City of Houston, and the Office of Business Opportunity processes 2 federal programs. And so those 4 programs, again, to ensure that meaningful participation in the government procurement process, certification is required for credit participation on minority, women-owned, and small business contracts with goals. And so our 4 city programs listed here, you guys see, is our MBE, what we call our MBE, Minority Business Enterprise. And it applies to firms owned and operated by minorities. Again, it's for goals for locally funded contract types. WBE, Women Business Enterprise, applies to firms owned and operated by women or females. And it's also for city funded projects. Now the City of Houston's SBE program, Small Business Enterprise, it applies to eligible firms in the construction industry. And this is one of our race and gender norms. In our 4th city program, Persons with Disability Business Enterprise. It's for our applicants who have a presently existing, medically determined physical or mental impairment of a chronic or permanent character that substantially limit one or more of your major life activities. Veterans with a service-connected disability may also qualify for Persons with Disability Business Enterprise. Now the 2 federal programs that we process, DBE and ACDBE is what we call them. That DBE, Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, that applies to firms owned and operated by socially and economically disadvantaged individuals. And DBE goals apply to U.S. Department of Transportation projects that receive federal financial assistance. Now the ACDBE, Airport Concessionaire Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. It is for firms that is eligible to participate on concession projects at the airports that receive federal funds. Examples of concessions would be retail, food and beverage, advertisement and marketing, vending and Wi-Fi services. And so concessions are, they provide goods and services to the traveling public. And so the process for certification could be pretty extensive. However, it is the duty of the certification team to ensure only legitimate and eligible firms are in the certification program. We do this through investigation and audit of firms and their records. And so the process listed here, we follow it pretty closely. Some changes due to COVID, and so I'll mention those. And so the pre-certification workshop, optional and recommended, not required. So this workshop, what we do every first and third Tuesday of each month is cover everything about certification, its requirements, and also take any questions from the business owners. We also cover how to apply for certification, which is all online, and pretty much want to get you set up to go and apply for certification on your own. And if you have any questions, you just reach out to us. Again, optional, recommended, but not mandatory. Now, every application coming into our office will go through preliminary screening of application. This is where we take a look at the documents attached to your online application and determine if those are the appropriate documents needed to process. If you don't turn in the documents needed, we do request those documents in a supporting document checklist through the system. Now, once your file is turned over to a certification specialist, we take your application through a series of audits. One of them is a desk audit, which is a reference check of your company. Financial audit's a little more detailed. We go through the business returns of the company that you own and any other companies you own, manage, and control, as well as your corporate documents, stock certificates, your bylaws, as well as any purchase agreements, pretty much everything about the company we covered through the financial audit. Now, due to COVID-19, we're not doing field site visits or field audits. We are conducting those through Zoom, and we call those our certification interviews now. And what we do there is the same thing we would do if we were there in person. So we would interview the qualifying owner. We would still tour the facility, either the virtual tour, or we'll have the applicants send us pictures. And once we finish all those steps, your certification specialist submit the file to committee, and the committee will review to determine eligibility. If approved, you'll issue the certification online, and you're immediately entered into our MWDBE directory. If denied, you receive that letter online as well through email, and you have 14 days from the day you're denied to appeal. And as a reminder, all our applications are submitted online, and for instructions on doing that, you can go to our OBO website, houstontx.gov/OBO. Now, the goals for our local program, the MW, SBE, and PDBE, is broken down into specific areas, procurement areas. And so right now, for construction, there's a 34% MW SBE goal. It is capped off at 4% for SBE projects. And then professional services, there's a 24% MWBE goal, purchasing, 11% MWBE goal. And then our persons with disability business enterprise, there's a 1% goal of overall city expenditures. The two federal programs have their own separate goals. The ACDB program goals are specific to the airports. So over at IAH or Bush Airport, there's a 32% ACDBE goal, non-inclusive of the rental cars, which is 1%. Over at Hobby, there's a 30% ACDBE goal, and those rental cars are still 1%. And then the Department of Transportation DBE goals over at Bush and Hobby are the same right now. There's a 31% DBE goal. DOT also have DBE goals for Ellington Field, and that goal right now is 30%. And so our business owners often wonder how successful our program is, being that the process is pretty extensive and we do collect a lot of documentation. So that how successful it is and why it's important for companies to apply for certification and that we have legitimate companies in the directory. So during our normal workshop, we provide this slide. Over $1.2 billion was awarded to our small minority and women-owned businesses during Mayor Turner's administration. And what this should say is during Mayor Turner's first administration. But to be fair, I wanted to include some more up-to-date info. So in FY 2020, what you guys see here is we awarded 3.5, well, City of Houston awarded $3.56 billion in contracts. Of that 3.56 billion, MWSBEs got $765 million. That's 2,547 certified firms working on city contracts. And when you get down just a little bit more in construction, MWSBEs did $514 million in city contracts. Professional service, they did $153 million. And in goods and services, $73 million. FY19, I wanted to include that, just to be fair, and just as successful, they did a little bit more, a little bit better in FY 2020. In FY19, City awarded $2.46 billion in contracts, and MWSBEs did $575 million of that work. That was 2,577 certified firms working on city projects. You guys see in construction, most of the money went there, and there's $348 million MWBEs did. Professional service, the $134 million, and then the goods and services, $68 million. And then we wanted to include this side in our pre-certification workshop, and I wanted to include it here because to speak of the success of the City of Houston's program, you also have to let everyone know that our certifications are accepted by other agencies. So we always tell our applicants, if you're looking at doing work with Metro or EPA, Texas Department of Transportation, or the Port of Houston, HCC, or Fort Bend ISD, you might want to go ahead and look into our certifications with the City of Houston. And then if you are looking to get work with the State of Texas Hub, we do have an agreement with the State of Texas Historically Underutilized Business Certification Program that if you qualify for our MBE and or WBE certification, on approval of those, we can submit your information to the State of Texas Hub Department. And if you qualify for their certification, they will enter you into their database, send you their Hub certification certificate, and you won't have to go through another application or audit process. So as a reminder, our applications are submitted online at houston.mwdbe.com. I want to mention that we do have that pre-certification workshop. In that workshop, we do provide slides on how to get to the applications at houston.mwdbe.com. That workshop is available on demand on the OBO's website in English and Spanish. And you can also download the PDFs of that workshop with the instructions on how to apply online at houston.mwdbe. I'm sorry, you apply online at houston.mwdbe.com, but the information about OBO is on our website, houstontx.gov/OBO. And we'd like you guys to stay connected with us. So please follow us on Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, and then our YouTube page with all our workshops loaded there. During the pandemic, we are still helping our business community. Please feel free to call our hotline number, which is 832-393-0600. And then our email address going straight to the certification team. It's OBO certification@houstontx.gov. And I want to thank you, Dr. Jackson, for allowing me to share this information. Please reach out to us with any questions, and I'll stay on just in case there's questions afterward.
Excellent, Vanessa. Thank you so much. And what we're seeing here is that I love the slide that you showed fiscal year 2019 and then fiscal year 20 to let people know there's still procurement opportunities. And that's what the theme of Meet the Buyer is, procuring virtually. So even though we're not able to be in person, business is still going on and there are still opportunities. So you still need to get certified if you're interested in pursuing government procurement opportunities. So certification still is valid. And fiscal year 2020 had awarded more money than fiscal year 2019. And we were in a pandemic. So just keep that in mind. Monique, how are you doing? You are so welcome. You are on mute, but I read everything your lips said, but you're on mute.
Thank you, Dr. Porscha, for having me. This is a great opportunity to share the information that I have. I do not have a presentation. Good afternoon to the panel. And I am here today to represent Metro Small Business Department. So wonderful, glad to be here. So some of the information I want to give you today is regarding the initial requirements for SBE certification and how to go about registering as a vendor. So Metro offers a free SBE certification to small businesses, and it lasts for 3 years. You can be placed in one of 4 categories: professional, construction, supplies, equipment, or general services. So you also have to show that you are in business for a minimum of 1 year, have 1 year of business taxes filed, have at least $5,000 in revenue within the past 12 months, and each owner who has 5% or more must show that their personal net worth is below $1.32 million. So a lot of times if there is a husband and wife who own a company, each spouse has to complete that. A lot of times I'll get applications where I'll just get one personal net worth statement. No, each spouse has to complete it, and they have to split their marital assets 50-50. We also look at size standards based on SBA.gov. I always tell my new applicants, please go to SBA.gov and check the NAICS codes to make sure you are within those size standards, because those are 2 things: the personal net worth statement and the size standards are the 2 qualifications that you must meet in order to be approved as a small business. In addition, we ask for at least 3 years of company taxes. If you are not in business for 3 years, then the minimum is 1 year. So if you're in business for 2 years, we want the 2 years. And in lieu of your missing business tax, we want your personal taxes. So let me go over that again. Initially, we ask for 3 years of company taxes, and then we want 1 year of personal taxes. So say, for example, if you're a sole proprietor, then all of your taxes would be personal. If you're a LLC, sometimes your taxes may be all personal, or you may file an 1120 or 1065. So that is what we mean when we say we want your business taxes and your personal taxes. In addition, we ask for a couple of invoices, proof of payment. So we want to know if you are asking to get certified in a specific service, you have to show us that you are actually doing that work and you're getting paid to do that work. Okay. We ask for references to call. And right now, I am working virtually, just like most of my other team. So things are limited. You know, people can still reach me, but it's better to reach me by email if you have any questions. So it's kind of hard to reach out to the references, but I'll email them if necessary. At the same time, Metro does take, or we accept, DBE from the city of Houston. I get a lot of questions regarding that, DBE or SBE. Now, Metro's SBE is separate from the city's SBE. We only accept DBE. And with that, if you are a DBE certified firm, we encourage you to apply because it is an automatic approval and a very quick application. Sometimes, depending on if you are trying to get on a contract and it's a hurry, I can create a record for you and go ahead and approve your certification. Once it's approved, you'll get a letter, email letter, that is sufficient enough to utilize for bidding purposes. So you don't have to have your certificate. And saying that, the certificate, once you're approved, you will get one, but it does take approximately 30 days. Our CEO of Metro likes to sign each and every certificate before it is mailed out. So we give him the time to do that. Just another few things I want to mention, that we do, Metro accepts HMSDC certified firms. Now, when I say that, I mean we accept your HMSDC certification with a fast track application. So in that fast track application, of course, we need your taxes, your business taxes, your personal taxes. We need a couple of invoices, and we need your certificate with your HMSDC NAICE codes, because that's what you're going to be approved for if you approved with Metro. So we're so happy that we've been able to offer this fast track application. I encourage those people who see this, if you are HMSDC certified, please apply with us. We would love to get you in and get you out in 2 weeks. That is the plan. I also want to mention that once you are SBE certified with Metro, our certification is accepted at other agencies like Port of Houston, Fort Bend ISD, HCC, and Houston First. Now, if you visit our website at ridemetro.org, if you scroll to the bottom where it says Business with Metro, you'll see small business at the very end. You have the ability to register with those other agencies on our website. We also encourage you to look at our workshops. We have workshops at least 2 times a month. And I also offer every 2 months a certification workshop. So all you have to do is log on, register, and we encourage you to attend. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. My email is mp33@ridemetro.org. That's the short email. And or Monique, MONIQUE, .pettaway@ridemetro.org. Also, my office number is 713-739-6032. And it will transfer you or give you another number to get in touch with me because we're working virtually. I wanted to say that before I forgot to mention it. And also, the process for certification does take at least 30 days. So, but that depends on the applicant. If the applicant can give me a complete application, I can try to work through it before that timeline. I don't make any promises, but I always try to work ahead of the curve. So the process does take 30 days for a regular SBE or brand new SBE application. For HMSDC applications, we have 14 days. That also depends on if the application is complete. I also want to encourage the small businesses to stay in touch with us on our website because we just had a workshop on Metro Next. I'm sure everyone has heard about that. Please stay in touch with us because the person that is going to be speaking will be coming up, I think in December. I'm not sure, they haven't gotten the date yet, but I think in December at our Meet the Buyers, we may be having something where he's going to talk again about Metro Next projects. So if I am, please check our website just to make sure. But I believe that, he will be on schedule again to speak about that. I think that's pretty much it. Thank you very much for your time. I will be on at the end for any more questions. Thank you.
Excellent, Monique. Thank you so much for sharing that. And what you were saying is just going along with it. There are so many opportunities in government procurement, and there are a lot of opportunities with Metro. So it's so important to make sure that you get the certification so that you can do business with Metro. And she explained the different certifications, who accepts them, which certifications they accept. So it's all, again, about doing your research and making sure you know who do you want to do business with and what are the requirements to do business with them. And so she mentioned HMSDC. So with that, we have Ingrid Robinson with us, and she's with HMSDC. She runs the organization. So Ingrid, how are you doing? Ingrid?
I am here. Hey, I'm like, oh God, I'm like, okay, I'm up. You're waiting and you're ready. You're like, God, and then you have a computer issue. So thank you so much for having us here, Porscha. We really appreciate it. And I am pleased to go last because I can pretty much say ditto to almost every single thing that has been said. So it makes my presentation a lot easier to go through. So I am going to pull it up now and share with you information about HMSDC and our certification process. All right. Oh, so let me get to the beginning. So I'm Ingrid Robinson. I am the president of HMSDC, and we really appreciate the opportunity to be a part of this panel. It feels like I'm with family because we all work so closely together. And our certification processes differ in little bitty ways, but it's a benefit that I think having multiple certifications could help any small business, any minority or woman-owned business. As a former business owner myself, I maintained certification with everyone because I wanted to be prepared should an opportunity present itself. That I would be prepared and have my certificate and certification ready to go. So I encourage anybody that's doing this to not wait to the last minute, but begin the process and see how each certification can benefit your organization. So I'll quickly tell you about HMSDC. HMSDC service territory is larger than Houston, although we're called the Houston Minority Supplier Development Council. We go north to Nacogdoches, east to the Louisiana border, south to Corpus Christi, and west to Austin County. And so it's a pretty large area. So that includes Corpus Christi, College Station, down in Port Arthur and Beaumont. So we have a large service territory that we work from. HMSDC's mission is to increase and expand business opportunities and business growth for minority-owned businesses and drive excellence in supplier diversity for corporate programs. So we're basically your private sector certification entity. So we work closely with the same type of companies that you would work with WBEA or Women Business Enterprise Alliance through the WeBank network. So HMSDC is part of a national organization called NMSDC, or National Minority Supplier Development Council. The NMSDC has been around 47 years, and we have been one of the only entities, and we are still the private sector only entity that does certification of minority-owned businesses. And when we talk about minority-owned businesses, we're talking about ethnic minority-owned businesses. So we certify businesses who are African American, Hispanic, Native American, Asian Indian, and Asian Pacific. So our certification is not based on revenue or size, but it is based on ethnicity. So it is not based on gender. So we have minority women-owned businesses, and then we have minority male-owned businesses. So if you are an ethnic minority, you can qualify for HMSDC certification. So a view of our core competencies, we have 4 pillars that we operate around. One is on to certify, to develop, to connect, and advocate. So when we talk about certification, we just mentioned that the certify minority-owned businesses and promote the validity of certification. Major corporations come to us to get certified minority-owned businesses so that they can ensure when they report out in their corporate sustainability reports or to the public that they are doing business with certified, genuine minority-owned businesses who own, manage, and control their entities. When we talk about development, we talk about development of our stakeholders. That's both our corporate supplier diversity professionals and our minority-owned businesses, because we want to create capacity of minority-owned businesses, and we want to promote and increase the capabilities of our minority-owned businesses. When we talk about connections, it was mentioned earlier that people do business with people they know, but we always say people do business with people they know, trust, and respect. And so we provide a lot of connection opportunities so that you can engage with corporate decision makers. And in this COVID time, we're doing a lot of that virtually, but you get an opportunity to get to know people, gain respect from them, trust that both entities have the best intentions, and begin to do business together. So we just had our large expo, which is Texas's largest minority business trade fair, on the Wednesday and Thursday of this week, a couple of days ago, and or yesterday. And it provided an opportunity for you to get to know people from corporations across the country and get to do business with them. So those are the kind of connections that we focus on. And then the advocacy piece. We want to advocate on behalf of minority-owned businesses, making sure that both the private sector and the public sector creates opportunities, tracks minority business spend, and ensures that minority businesses have the opportunity to participate in the greater Houston area's economic ecosystem. So when we talk about certification, it's been mentioned before, but certification is a process that ensures that companies are 51% owned, managed, and controlled by ethnic minorities, and it performs a commercial useful function. That means that you are providing an actual service or product that can be used by a government or a private sector entity. You are in business for profit. According to our NMSDC standards, we make sure that businesses are owned and controlled and managed. Those are the key three terms: owned, managed, and controlled by ethnic minorities. That you must be an independent for-profit business. We do not certify nonprofit businesses, and the owner must have the expertise to perform the commercial useful function. That means if you're an engineer or an architect or in another profession that requires a professional license, that the owner of the company has and holds one of those licenses to ensure that you're able, even if you're not doing the work, to evaluate the information that's provided by your staff or your contractors to make the right decisions. And so those are the pillars of what our certification is built around, making sure that minority-owned businesses meet that criteria. Some of our corporate members are the household names that you know. We represent most Fortune 500 companies. We have over 150 major corporations who are active and engaged with our organization. And we also have companies on a national level through the national network that allows you to do business not only here in Houston, but that's one of the benefits of certification, is to be able to connect you to a national network. So you'll see a lot of local, regional, and national companies as part of our organization. And these are many of the private sector companies, but we also have entities like the ones represented here that we do business with and that we promote and that we connect you to make sure that you get the most value out of membership with HMSDC. Certification process. Well, there is an application, as everybody has mentioned, and in the days of COVID, everything is online. We have a pre-certification workshop that we conduct every first Thursday of the month. And so we invite everybody to attend that workshop after you've had a chance to review a checklist online. That workshop is from 11 to noon. And at that time, we walk you through the process. We tell you about the documents that we're asking you for. We tell you why we're asking you for those documents. And we answer any questions that you might have related to certification and the process, so that you can feel comfortable with going through the process and making the decisions that you need to make on behalf of your organization. So the second step in the process after reviewing the checklist is attending that workshop. And then we require the documentation. Because the process is all online, you'll need to, I often tell people it's probably better to gather all of the documentation, because there's a document checklist that you can download. And make sure that you have all of those documents because you're going to have to upload them to a site. So create a folder, drag all of those documents in there so that you can upload it as you go through the certification process. If you don't and you want to piecemeal it and do it, you can save your application and come back to it until you have the entire document completed. But it often makes it easier if you're not having to search through folders and you have all of that documentation in one place. And it will help you as you go through the process with all the entities that you've spoken to today to make sure that you have that documentation handy. And in many cases, as I'll talk about shortly, there's ways for us to help you with that documentation if you've already submitted it to one or more entities. And then finally, complete that application. There's a signed, notarized declaration that you must submit. And also, because we do, and it was mentioned earlier, have partnership and MOU agreements with some of our key partners here. If you want to be certified, if you're already certified by us and you want to go to Metro, as Monique mentioned, it's a 14-day a 14-day turnaround should you submit all the documentation. So the clock doesn't start, whether it's with our certification, Metro's, the City of Houston, or WBEA. The clock does not start until all of the documentation is in place. So when we say 14 days with Metro, it is once Monique gets all those documents, your 14-day clock starts then. If you submit an application and there's additional documentation, like your net worth, your personal net worth statement, and you have not gotten that to her, then your 14 days has not started. So we also have an expedited process as mentioned with the City of Houston. And our target there is 45 days for certification from the time all documentation is submitted. So with that, there is an affidavit that you can request from HMSDC during the certification process that would allow us to, once certified, to be able to share the information in your file with both Metro or the City of Houston, or I must say, and or the City of Houston, so that you can begin the certification process with them. You'll have to still submit your application, but it allows you to expedite that process, and we will provide all of the supporting documentation that you've given to us directly to them so that it makes your document upload process a lot faster. And then when we talk about sample documentation, when you say, well, what kind of documentation, Ingrid, are you talking about? Well, we need proof of ethnicity. That is your birth certificate, that's a passport that shows that you are an ethnic minority. Proof of U.S. citizenship. Our certification only applies to U.S. citizens, whether naturalized or born. Tax returns. We are not looking to see how profitable you are, but you're more likely to tell the truth to the IRS about who owns what percentage of the company and not lie than you would on an honor system. So we're looking at certain documentation for proof of ownership, management, and control, not on how profitable your business is. So this is just a sample of some of the information that we're requesting, and all of the documentation that's requested, just keep in mind, goes to validate ownership, management, and control of the entity. And now a certification overview of the process. So we talked about this a little bit earlier, but you have to submit all the documentation online. Even prior to COVID, our certification process was online. The only thing that has changed that is different, but has been mentioned earlier with the City of Houston, is that our site visits, which we are required to do, are now held virtually. So we will do your site visit virtually, and we do still verify references as well. So we have a process that we've put in place where we can send a documentation to your reference, and then they can schedule a time with one of our certification representatives to be able to verify your reference. And your reference has to be someone that's done business with you in the past. So it's going to first you submit your application with the payment for certification. The payment depends on the size of your company and the revenue generation. The lowest payment level is $250. Our certification is good for 1 year, and then you must reapply for a certification. The recertification process is a lot simpler. You don't have to provide all the documentation that you provided initially, but we'll need certain documents updated, like your tax returns, and then an affidavit that says nothing else in the business has changed. If something else in the business has changed, will ask you for the appropriate documentation and complete your recertification. So after your application is submitted, you go through the desk audit, which is our process to make sure we have all the documents that we need. And then the site visit is scheduled that I just mentioned. After the site visit, a report is generated and your entire file is presented to our certification committee. Our certification committee is made up of our corporate members. Our members are kept anonymous so that they can't be influenced with the process, but they have been thoroughly trained to evaluate the files, and they make a recommendation to our board of directors. The only people that can approve certification on behalf of HMSDC is our board of directors, which meets every month. And so the certification committee will review the files that they have completed for that month, and they will make a recommendation to the board of directors. I then present those to the board of directors, and then we issue a report back to the certification committee of those companies who were approved for certification and those entities who we may have questions about that we might need more documentation on, and they will receive that information and complete the certification process. Once you go through the whole certification process, you will be notified that your certification has been accepted and you are now a certified MBE. You can download your certification, or Minority Business Enterprise is an MBE. I can't remember if that's been outlined already. But you'll be able to download your certification certificate from our website. So at any time, should you need it, the process and your login credentials will get you into be able to download your certificate as a certified minority-owned business. And then you'll be asked to attend interchange. Interchange is a very important part of the process. Interchange is where we talk to you about the council, we explain to you how you can get involved, how to go about making corporate contacts, and introducing you to all of the programmatic things that we talked about under development of businesses as in certification. So some of our certification partners, we have our certification is automatically accepted by the state of Texas, Port Houston, and I added Houston Community College System because it should be accepted within the next 30 days to be accepted by Houston Community College System. In terms of the expedited process that we talked about, the City of Houston, about 45 days, Metro is about 14 days. But these are all of the certification entities in our service territory, and except for the DBE certification, which we do not issue, but that is issued by the City of Houston. So are there any questions that anybody has about certification or the process? You can again attend our certification, pre-certification workshop the first Thursday of the month, or you can send an email to certification@hmsdc.org. And we'll be happy to get back to you, answer any of those questions you may have as you're going through the process. And anything that we can do to help will be greatly appreciated, and we will make sure that we get back to you as soon as possible. There's a lot of additional information that you can find on our website at www.hmsdc.org. So Porscha, thank you for the opportunity for us to present, and thanks to my other certification partners. We miss you. I can't wait for us to be able to get back together soon.
Thank you, Ingrid, for sharing all this information. So folks, make sure you definitely reach out to HMSDC, because what she's talking about is you have the opportunity to get certification, as well as with their organization, there's a network of other businesses, and that's what you want to ensure business success, that you're in the proper network with it. And she shared all the different organizations that they work with, that they partner with to provide these opportunities, and Shirley did as well as Vanessa talking about the opportunities that it presents for if you get your certifications with the City of Houston and Monique Metro. So I have two questions I want to pose to the panel. The first one is what do you think the biggest misconception is about certifications? Anyone can answer that.
For me, this is Shirley. That as soon as I get certified, then I can get the contracts, and the corporations must give me the contracts because I am a woman business enterprise.
I would echo that. I think one of the things we always say is that certification is your ticket to entry. It is not guaranteeing any contract. It is not most corporations and governmental entities have goals. They don't have quotas. No contract will be given to any business. You must be qualified. You must be prepared. And that's why all of the entities that are represented here today not only do certification, but they do development and training to ensure that you are prepared to be able to perform on those contracts and understand how to do business with them. And so to me, the best advice I would give is to make sure that you not only get the certification, but you utilize the certification to access all sorts of training and development to help you better understand how those organizations work, how they procure goods and services, who you talk to, what kind of questions to ask, and all of that will lead to the contract opportunity. But it won't be immediate, and it does take time, but this is your ticket and entryway into those organizations.
Absolutely. It is, as some folks say, it is gives the ticket to give you the entry into the door, and it's the seat at the table. Vanessa, Monique, did you want to chime in on that question, or?
I just wanted to say that there is a big misconception. Once a small business is certified with one agency, that those other agencies automatically accept it. And so that's why I wanted to reiterate that, you know, the difference between the City of Houston and Metro, and of course HMSDC. So I'm glad you did say that again. You know, figure out which agency you want to do work with, and then from that agency, ask them, what other agencies accept your certification? You know, that'll save them a lot of time of starting all over again, starting the process over again, because they've already been certified with one, and then they fail to ask that question, and they could have saved themselves a lot of time by not having to go through the entire process all over. So that was my own input.
I echo all the ladies on that. Contracts are not guaranteed. It is a ticket in. And you're absolutely right. If they know who they want to do work with, they can go to the proper certification agency and go through that application process. So all of that I agree with. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I want to add one other thing. I think that, you know, when you look at certification, they often look at getting a contract directly with that particular organization. But I also say that you need to look at certification as your entry into second tier opportunities, because there are contracts that have subcontracting goals that are on them, because maybe your company isn't large enough to be a direct supplier to the City of Houston or to Metro. But you also have the ability, though, to perform work. So you can perform a smaller portion of that work. And so you want to use that certification that you get to identify prime contractors who are bidding on the larger work and present yourself as a supplier that could provide valuable services or products to them in support of that Metro or that city contract or that Shell contract, or, you know, entity that is, so that you can not only have opportunities for business directly with those entities, but with those entities' prime suppliers.
Absolutely. Shirley, you look like you were getting ready to say something? Or?
Yeah, well, this is phenomenal, but I would like to state that the WBEA also have offer every first Friday how to get WBEA certified, and during that time we do discuss, as Ingrid was talking about, we discuss, you know, how to process this information, and it is, you know, how to go about looking to see who you want to do business with, how to show up ready, and what does that look like. We talk about, you know, what do you need to know about the corporation you're trying to do business with? What problem do you see that you can solve for them? They may not even know they have, or if they do know, they may not know that there's someone else in the community, in the business community, that can. So we have these discussions, and So so on the first Friday of every month, join the conversation. It's so important for, if you're looking to get in this space, to make sure that you are engaging with the organizations that can provide the opportunity for you can be in that space. What does it look like to be certified? That is a full-time job sometimes within itself.
It definitely is. It definitely is. And just want to encourage everybody to not only to here at Meet the Buyer, we also have prime contractors that have government contracts. And so this is another opportunity, networking, as they've all shared too, to put your, to build that relationship, introduce yourself, and use your capability statement. Let them know who you are so that you can get those subcontracting opportunities. You can get that opportunity into the door. And so the last question, or it's really not a question, it's a statement, and it's a fill in the blank, and it's for each of you to answer. And so it is, so complete this sentence. Without certification in government procurement for small businesses, I'm sorry, let me reword that. Without certification, government procurement in, I cannot get this question right. Without certification, what would government procurement for small businesses be like?
Wow. Non-existent.
I'm gonna give you one word to describe that. Without certification in government procurement, what would it be like for small businesses? One word.
I said non-existent.
Non-existent.
Yeah.
Non-existent.
Yeah.
Hard.
Hard.
Extremely hard. You'd have to put the 2 words in it.
Right. I was trying to figure out like what would be a really good, difficult, hard. I think non-existent is generally or I would say frustrating. That might be a good word, because I think the benefit of certification is to help you navigate these organizations. And so, you think about a small business or someone starting, and then you say, okay, I think I want to I want to do business with the city of Houston. Well, you have absolutely no idea where to start. And so if there was no OBO, it would be extremely frustrating to try to call around and figure out who to contact, what departments utilize your services, how that process works. So Meet the Buyer is, a godsend to help them actually get to departments that they could potentially do business with and understand what their needs are, who that they should contact with, how long I always tell companies, always ask them if they say, well, we already have someone that does that business or provide services to us. Just because you're certified doesn't mean that they're going to cancel the contract with the vendor that they have and do business with you. And so you have to ask questions like, well, when does that contract come back up for renewal? So that you begin to build a pipeline of opportunities. So if they say, well, not for another 2 years, that gives you 2 years to build a relationship with that entity, to understand what that entity is looking for, where their pain points are, what value you can add, so that when it gets ready to come back up, that they know, and OBO has told them 6 months out, start looking for that RFP to hit the street. It's too late once the RFP is out there to start trying to do that work. So it's making sure that you're asking the right questions. So without an OBO, it will be nearly non-existent, and it would be extremely frustrating for any small business to try to do business with large complex entities like Metro, like the city of Houston, or any major corporation. It is just extremely hard.
Yeah. So I would like to just add on to that. It's about relationships and just spending time learning how to develop that relationship and getting that introduction. And that's what all of our agencies are. We're not only the owner of, the helper with that pass to get them in, but we also are the people that can help make those collaborations possible and help navigate through the system so you're not alone. A lot of small businesses, entrepreneurship, especially for singlepreneurs, is a very lonely place. So being able to not only get certified, but really understand how to be engaged in doing business with the city of Houston. And sometimes it's not about a contract, it's about a relationship. How do I form relationships? And I remind my small businesses, nobody wants to feel used. And so just think of them, if you're going to the dance, don't just automatically think that people are going to line up in the line to dance with you. So, be willing to walk around the room and get uncomfortable and become uncomfortable, because it is a process.
Right.
But there's somebody there with you at the dance. We're the wing girls. We're their wingmen. We're there with them, helping them walk through the process. But a lot of times they don't know how to use us either. So that's why it's important to come to our workshops so that they can, it gets easier and easier as they get more comfortable with us. And with our
Porscha, I'd like to add one final thing, and I don't want to hog the mic, but I think that the city of Houston provides such and all of our organizations provide such a wealth of opportunity that it also is, I don't want us to negate the developmental piece. Build Up Houston. If you're a construction company and I tell this to private sector companies too, you might be an expert at what you did and you might have worked for ExxonMobil and been head of this department, but you haven't run a business.
Right.
They teach you, we talk about lawyers, they teach you how to be a lawyer. They don't teach you how to run a business.
Right.
And so they teach you how to go to court. And so if you're an engineer or whatever business you're in, you may have a trade or a specialization, but that doesn't teach you how to run a business. It's the developmental pieces that we all provide that helps you to be a successful business owner, to make that transition into entrepreneurship and understand everything from your financials, understanding what cash flow means and how that works, understanding how to research and create a marketing plan. So it's the programs that we all provide. It's the Build Up Houston that says, let me tell you, if you're in construction, how do you price the components? How do you manage the employee rates, pay rates, and all of those things that you have to track. And it's organizations like Shirley's in the business center where you can go and get access to resources, because I think that there's a frustration from businesses. They say, well, they tell me I'm priced too high, but I don't know where I'm supposed to be priced. And when I ask them where I should be priced, they tell me that they can't tell me. Well, you have organizations that will tell you where to go to find those resources. Where are other organizations getting that information from? Back into the cost from your competitors. You can go to Monique's. I think you guys did we did a cost modeling one with BP, and I think you guys did one on how to determine what your pricing should be, because you don't want to try to be low bidder and then you're out of business, right? So you need to understand that it's not about low price, it's about value and how to determine that. So I just don't want us to negate sort of all of these other factors that go with certification. So it's not just about getting a stamp that says I have a certificate I can wave around. Right. It's about all of these other services that we provide.
Our certification team pushes that a lot.
Preaching today.
General phone calls and applicants are just business owners just asking questions. And I know Dr. Jackson and Magnifique might get a little tired of us. We say, you need to talk to the OBO Solutions Center. They can tell you all about that stuff. And there's a bunch of different programs that we in certification cannot help you with. We are certification. Once you turn that application in, that's where I pick up. But Dr. Jackson and Magnifique, they can run you through the mentor protege program requirements, the business plan competition requirements. There's so many different programs to run through the OBO Solutions Center. And so we just kind of calls there and know that they're in good hands and they can get help through Dr. Jackson and Magnifique. So we really appreciate you guys over in the OBO Solutions Center.
And we appreciate you all too. We appreciate just the partnerships that we have with you, because again, the role of certification is so important for small businesses to be able to do business in government, in procurement, but in general as well. And just the multitude, and I want everybody to understand is that we talked about certification in this webinar, but like Ingrid said, everybody is multifaceted. Like all of these organizations do way more than that. And that's the part that really stands out because we care. Because if we didn't care, you get the certification and we wouldn't tell you how to make that certification work. But we do. And we all come together at our various events for each organization to create that community. So again, ladies, thank you so much. Meet the buyer attendees. Make sure you stop by their virtual booths. Holler at them, say hello, introduce yourself, ask them about their programs, ask them about their certification. They gave you their contact information. And again, with this webinar, you can download it, go back again. So if you want to say, I remember something, you can go back, download it, and you can contact them next week, the week after, whatever. They're here to help you. So again, thank you for attending Meet the Buyer. Our panelists, you guys were so amazing. Thank you for just sharing your information and sharing your passion and all that you do for small businesses here in Houston. And I believe there are some people from other cities that also utilize our services. We just don't know it sometimes. So thank you for just sharing your time and your knowledge. And so again, so grateful for it, and everyone enjoy Meet the Buyer. We'll see you around.
Thank you guys. Bye-bye.